The midday sun gleamed on the tank as Neptune, the towering Orca, executed his leaps to roaring applause. Maris Ellington stood poolside, her smile unwavering as she signaled for the finale, a daring dive into the water alongside Neptune. But as she hit the water, the atmosphere shifted. Neptune surged forward with terrifying speed, slamming into Maris and pulling her under as the crowd erupted in panicked screams. But just what drove this sudden, violent turn? Maris Ellington had always loved the sea. From an early age, she was drawn to marine life and dreamed of working with orcas. When she turned 20, she landed a job at Blue Horizon Oceanic Park, a famous marine attraction known for its grand shows. She spent countless hours studying orca behavior and practicing routines that would thrill crowds. Her devotion shone through each day, and it was clear she was eager to make a difference. Colleagues admired her energy, and visitors adored her gentle spirit around these marine mammals. Each morning, Maris greeted Neptune, the park's largest male orca. He weighed over 7,000 pounds and was known for his playful antics. Maris found Neptune intriguing. She saw hints of intelligence in his eyes, and formed a bond said was remarkable. Yet, behind that imposing dorsal fin lay a wild spirit. Neptune sometimes showed unpredictable moods. Trainers observed he would splash or refuse signals at random. Maris believed patience and gentle guidance could ease those quirks. She pressed on, hoping to build trust that ran deeper than any fear. The day of the incident arrived like any other. Bright sunlight bathed the stadium, and visitors filled the seats, eager for the midday show. Maris stood poolside in her wetsuit, greeting excited fans with a friendly wave. She felt a tension in the air but shrugged it off. Neptune swam laps in the main tank, occasionally letting out a sharp cry. He seemed restless, but the staff saw nothing alarming. After all, Neptune had been with them for years, and usually cooperated when showtime arrived. Everyone expected a smooth performance. When the show began, Maris signaled Neptune to leap through the air. He shot out of the water, displaying his size to the crowd's delight. Applause thundered, and Maris led him through a few more tricks. But something was off. Neptune hesitated between cues, as if testing Maris. She stayed calm, encouraging him with a soft voice. The music swelled, and the grand finale approached. A synchronized sequence where Maris would dive into the water as Neptune circled. Tension heightened. Nobody realized how tragic this final act would be. As Maris plunged in, Neptune rushed forward with alarming speed. Instead of gliding gracefully, he rammed into her side, knocking her off balance. The audience gasped. For a second, Maris vanished underwater. A red cloud soon spread, and horrified screams echoed through the stadium. Trainers rushed to the edge, frantically yelling Neptune's name. He ignored them, clamping down on Maris's leg and dragging her deeper. People scrambled to call for help. Chaos reigned. Every passing second felt like a year. Tension surged to an unbearable level as Neptune kept going. Fellow trainers grabbed emergency poles and tossed inflatable rafts in a desperate effort to distract Neptune. He dove down, refusing to release Maris. Underwater cameras later revealed the horrible struggle, with Maris pinned against the tank's floor. Her movements grew weaker as her oxygen depleted. Above, staff members tried to drop nets into the pool, hoping to corral Neptune. The Orca proved too strong and too determined. Onlookers wept openly, pleading for the nightmare to end. Emergency personnel raced toward the stage, but time slipped away at a terrifying pace. Finally, Neptune surfaced, still clinging to Maris. Her limp body told a grim story. Trainers on a small rescue boat managed to grab her arms and pull her out of the water. A rush of medics surrounded her, initiating CPR. Blood covered the deck, and her skin looked pale. The crowd stood in stunned silence, many in tears. A trainer shouted for a defibrillator. They worked feverishly to revive her, but her heartbeat never returned. After endless attempts, the medics stepped back, shaking their heads. Maris Ellington was gone, forever. The park went into crisis mode. Officials halted all Orca shows and news crews swarmed the facility. Videos of Neptune's attack circulated online, sparking outrage and grief. Some viewers argued orcas should never be kept in captivity. Others demanded stronger safety protocols. Within hours, lawyers representing Maris's family filed a lawsuit against Blue Horizon Oceanic Park, claiming negligence in ignoring Neptune's prior aggressive signs. The tragedy became a focal point for animal rights activists and the daily media alike, making Maris a symbol of the risks faced by trainers everywhere. In the days after the attack, investigators reviewed footage and interviewed staff. Many described Neptune as challenging to handle but not violent. They revealed that he had refused certain cues that morning, indicating stress or discomfort. Some believed the loud show environment, combined with captivity, pushed him over the edge. Orca experts weighed in, citing the complexity of orca psychology. They questioned whether big tanks could ever meet these creatures' needs. A heated debate arose over the ethics of orca shows, with Maris's death reigniting the push for major reforms. Blue Horizon Oceanic Park tried to control the narrative, releasing statements claiming their training program was safe. Yet public opinion turned sour. Visitors canceled tickets, and protests erupted outside the park's gates. Flowers, letters, and photos of Maris covered the entrance, a stark reminder of the tragedy. Animal welfare groups organized vigils, calling for Neptune's release into a sea sanctuary. Park executives denied requests, saying he was unfit for the wild. Lawsuits multiplied, fueling intense scrutiny and leaving the park in financial jeopardy. The fallout echoed far beyond the stadium. In April 2024, the sailing yacht La Belle Étoile set out from a quiet French harbor, aiming to cross the Bay of Biscay. Its crew, led by Captain Jules Moreau, felt ready for any challenge. Known for unpredictable weather, the bay could be rough, yet the forecast promised calm skies. Spirits soared on deck, fresh coffee aromas mingled with salty air, and everyone looked forward to a smooth voyage. Nobody suspected danger lurked beneath the blue. The wind was mild, and the yacht glided gently, sails billowing in perfect harmony. On the second day, the crew noticed scattered dolphins swimming nearby, a pleasant sight that lifted their spirits even more. The water remained calm, and seabirds soared overhead. Captain Moreau double-checked the route, confirming they were on schedule. A light breeze nudged the yacht forward, leaving a graceful wake. The day felt serene, almost too quiet. Still, no one suspected what would happen next. Talk revolved around favorite ports, recipes, and the crisp beauty of the open ocean, a backdrop that inspired wonder instead of dread, at least for now. Late afternoon brought the first sign of trouble. A lookout spotted a sleek black fin slicing through the water, larger than any dolphins. Another fin appeared, then a third. Orcas. Usually, such an encounter sparks excitement. Many sailors feel honored to glimpse these apex predators in the wild, but Captain Moreau felt uneasy. He had heard rumors of recent orca attacks. A chill ran through him despite the mild temperature. Quietly, he instructed the crew to stay alert. Tension thickened, and nobody knew what to expect. The orcas drew closer. At first, the orcas swam alongside La Belle Étoile, seeming curious rather than hostile. Crew members took photos, amazed by the creature's grace. But within minutes, one orca broke away and circled behind the yacht, eyeing the rudder. Then came a sudden jolt. The boat shook, sending mugs clattering below deck. Gasps broke the silence as everyone realized the orca had struck the stern. Captain Moreau shouted to reduce sail power and brace. Fear swept across faces. Nobody had expected aggression. This was no playful bump. The danger was real. A second impact slammed the hull, nearly toppling two crew members. They grabbed ropes just in time. Water splashed over the deck, and the yacht lurched. Shaken, Captain Moreau ordered everyone to don life jackets. He radioed a mayday call, voice trembling. Another crew member, Pierre, peered over the rail and gasped at the sight of three orcas aligning themselves for another charge. Each strike echoed with thunderous force. The rudder groaned in protest. Time slowed. Eyes locked on the swirling black forms below. A dreadful realization hit them all. The attacks were aimed at the rudder, the yacht's key steering point. Without it, La Belle Étoile would be helpless. Captain Moreau tried to maneuver, but the damage slowed their response. Shouts mixed with crashing waves and pounding hearts. One orca dove deep, then burst upward, ramming the keel in a shock move. The entire vessel shuddered, throwing supplies around below deck. Sails flapped wildly, and the boat listed starboard. Panic gripped the crew. They had heard stories of orca incidents but never expected to face this relentless force firsthand. As the yacht drifted, the orcas continued their siege. Each impact felt stronger than the last, echoing through the wooden frame. A fissure formed near the stern, allowing seawater to trickle in. The crew hurried to patch the breach with spare planks and sealant, but the orcas gave them little respite. Captain Moreau barked orders, directing them to secure loose items. Fear flashed across each face, yet they kept working, clinging to hope. Outside, fins sliced through the surface, intent on finishing the job. The crew braced for another blow. Help seemed distant, The Bay of Biscay can be a lonely expanse. Radio calls to the Coast Guard brought promises of assistance, but the closest rescue vessel was hours away. Water seeped in faster than the crew could bail. Panic threatened to take over. Yet Captain Moreau urged calm, reminding them to focus on survival steps. They checked life rafts and emergency flares. The Orcas stayed close as if waiting for another chance to strike. Fear gnawed at every heart. Options were few, and time was running out. Tension soared. Suddenly, a fishing trawler appeared on the horizon. Spotting the yacht's distress flares, the trawler changed course, moving in to assist. Hope flickered among the beleaguered crew. They waved and signaled, pleading for help. One Orca slammed the hull again, nearly tipping the yacht. Cries rang out. The trawler's captain radioed back, saying they'd launch a rescue boat. La Belle Étoile listed badly, water pooling inside the cabin. The Orcas showed no mercy. Each attack felt like a crushing blow to their fragile hopes. Rain clouds gathered overhead, adding gloom. Within half an hour, the fishing trawler's boat reached La Belle Étoile. Crew members jumped aboard, aiding the sailors. Together, they hurled ropes across, trying to stabilize the yacht. Another Orca slammed the stern, cracking the patched wood. Water poured in. Captain Moreau ordered everyone to abandon the ship, tears in his eyes. They loaded onto the rescue boat, hearts pounding. The fishermen gunned the engine, racing away from the besieged vessel. A final slam left the yacht tilted, awaiting its fate. Waves rolled, and the Orcas sank back into silence. In June 2024, the yacht El Dorado, captained by Sofia Ramirez, sailed along Spain's scenic coastline. The trip seemed routine, with warm sunshine and calm seas. On board were 4 crew members, each experienced in handling mid-sized vessels. Spirits were high, and the group chatted about upcoming stops in Barcelona and Valencia. They had no idea that this pleasant voyage would soon turn into a terrifying struggle. Early signs of danger were nowhere in sight. The water sparkled like polished glass, teasing them with thoughts of a peaceful journey ahead. On the second afternoon, while Sofia relaxed at the helm, a sudden disturbance rippled near the stern. Diego, her first mate, checked the water. In moments, a tall dorsal fin emerged. Another fin followed, black and white against the blue sea. Orcas. Sofia felt her stomach clench. She had read reports of attacks along the Spanish coast, but never imagined facing them herself. Yet here they were, close, silent, and unreadable. Tension filled the air as the Orcas glided with uncanny calm, circling slowly as if sizing up their target. Without warning, one Orca surged forward and rammed the rudder with incredible force. The yacht shuddered, causing a vibration through the deck. Sofia shouted for the crew to stay calm, but panic flickered in their eyes. Another strike followed, even harder, sending loose gear skidding across the deck. El Dorado was a sturdy craft, but the pounding tested every rivet. Waves slapped the hull, mixing with frantic voices. Diego tried steering away, but the rudder refused to respond. The Orcas had found its weak point, and they pressed their attack. The battle intensified. Crew members scrambled to secure lines, latches, and gear before each fresh strike. A grinding noise erupted from the stern, hinting at damage deep below. Water began leaking in, though not enough to sink them right away. Still, Sofia worried that more hits would tear the hull apart. She grabbed the radio and sent a mayday, voice trembling. The Coast Guard responded, promising to dispatch a patrol boat. Nobody knew if help would arrive in time. The Orcas showed no sign of stopping, circling like relentless hunters. Diego and 2 others rushed to the engine room, hoping to keep the systems functional. Sparks flew as a loose metal panel hit the wiring. One Orca slammed the keel again, sending them stumbling. Sweat poured down their faces, mixing with salt spray and fear. On deck, Sofia tried to guide the yacht closer to shore, but the rudder barely responded. Each jolt risked more flooding. The crew felt trapped, powerless against these massive creatures. They had prepared for storms, but never for an onslaught from intelligent, determined animals commanding the sea. Minutes felt like hours. The Orcas coordinated their strikes with precision, each blow targeting the yacht's vulnerable points. Sofia clung to the helm, scanning for any sign of rescue. A distress flare arced skyward, a bright plea for help. Down below, Diego and the others fought to patch leaks, but the water kept rising. Outside, fins sliced the waves, and an eerie calm followed each savage hit. Hearts pounded, and faces paled as the realization sank in. They might lose everything if rescue did not arrive soon. Helplessness stifled hope. At last, a Spanish fishing vessel responded to their flare, changing course to approach El Dorado. Sophia radioed desperate pleas, describing the Orca attacks and the yacht's failing condition. The fishermen promised a rescue attempt once they arrived. Meanwhile, the Orcas struck again, splintering part of the stern. A harsh crack signaled more structural failure. Diego yelled that the pumps could not keep pace with the incoming water. Sophia mustered courage, trying to rally her crew. Their only choice was to hold on, trusting that help would reach them soon. The fishing vessel finally came within range, launching a small lifeboat toward El Dorado. Two fishermen fought choppy waves to reach the yacht, hauling extra rope and equipment to tow or stabilize it. But the Orcas lurked close. One rammed the lifeboat, nearly knocking a fisherman overboard. Shouts erupted, and the men fended off the Orca with oars. Sophia urged them to pull alongside quickly. Time was short. The yacht groaned under another blow, water gushing through torn seams. Everyone battled rising fear. A single mistake could sink them all. Working with frantic speed, the fishermen secured tow lines to El Dorado's bow. Sophia and Diego helped, hands trembling. Another Orca charged, but the fishing vessel inched forward, pulling the damaged yacht behind it. The Orcas persisted, slamming the sides. Each strike threatened to undo their lifeline. The crew on El Dorado held their breath, anticipating a final, fatal strike. The distance to shore felt endless. Every second dragged. They clung to the hope that the Orcas would lose interest, or that the battered yacht would hold long enough. They prayed. If you enjoyed this video, watch our next one shown on screen.